Good morning, everyone. I'm Councillor Paula Fletcher, and I chair the Toronto Community Housing Corporation's Board's Community Safety Advisory Subcommittee, and welcome to the public session of today's committee meeting. Please let me begin by acknowledging that the land each of us is on, as we hold this virtual meeting, is in the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And on Saturday, the City of Toronto opened its large community center and library with the Wendat Nation there, as the new community center and park is the Wendat name. And we are now home to many First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples, and acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. So during today's public session, we have one report, the 2024 Public CSAC Work Plan reports being brought forward for the committee's approval, and one report on the Violence Reduction Program update for the third and fourth quarters 2023 is being brought forward for the committee's information. Members of the CSAC need to indicate if they have any conflict of interest on any of the items. Seeing none, no conflicts of interest were declared for this. And now I think both of these are being held, so we'll have both of those. And are there any other items other than the two I mentioned?
The committee just needs to approve the minutes and the action items.
Can I ask you for a motion, Marcel, to approve the minutes of the last meeting and the action items? There's Marcel saying yes. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you.
Yes.
Action items? Yes. Okay.
So it's the first deputation is on item 6, which is the public work plan, and Ms. Yu is in the room.
We do have a deputant today on the public work plan, and that's Ms. Jackie Yu. So, Ms. Yu, would you like to come up and make your deputation now, please? Jackie? Yeah, up to the microphone. The report we're dealing with is a report regarding the 2024 Public CSAC Work Plan, which is put forward for the committee, the tenant services, and the board's approval. And Ms. Jackie Yu, you have 5 minutes to depute.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, Fletcher, and all of the committee members. My name is Jacqueline Yu. Oh, is it on? Is it on now? Oh, okay, maybe I need, okay, sorry. Okay, my name is Jacqueline Yu, and I would like to comment on item 6 of the 2024 Public CSAC Work Plan. If my time is up, please let me know. I will stop right at 5 minutes. My experience is that in our regional management, there has been no accountability and transparency, which has created an unsafe inner community, with tenants feeling there is no opportunity to have tenant concern action, as tenant concern would never get on the board's agenda. For example, members of my community have expressed to the regional manager and solution manager issue with drug dealing, liquor man on the open run space, and tenants observing non-tenant taking drugs in our community property. We have requested a friends to enclose the siren. No action have been taken, and we have received no response to requests for action, despite providing picture evidence. In addition, there is no lock on the front door of our building lobby, which has resulted in homeless, strangers, and others sleeping in our lobby, which creating an intimidating environment where they are jumping on benches and follow tenants into the building. This will create an unsafe environment for all tenants. In fact, about a year ago, tenants in the building, a group of tenants request installation of an FOB lock on the front door to ensure that only authorized person enter the building Today, nothing has been done. Commitment have been made but never followed. In addition, as I have raised concern many times to management regarding our project townhouse or apartment that have been rent out for a for-profit basis by subletting to tenants not on the list. It is unclear as to why this is permitted. At least 5 units, I've been sent the name, address, notify the management. Nothing has been done for years. And whatever there is, even a process in place to ensure that the subletting person are there with the consent of the landlord. It is my understanding that regional management is developed its own policy as a self-governing management body composed of tenant volunteer with a mandate to independently interpret TCHC policy. While tenant engagement refresh program consists of tenant volunteer may be one model of operation. This model assumes that all tenants have a shared interest in the community. It is clear that the present model allows for tenant volunteers who are motivated by profit instead of a safe community environment, resulting in an unsafe living environment. What includes including drug dealing and drug use within a family-oriented community space, despite regional management being made aware on multiple occasions. Nothing has been done. I agree with Ms. Wilkinson's former TCHC chair, all recommendations on February 5, 2024. I respectfully request the board to consider inclusion of community safety plan that would centralize the formula again as part of the 2024 public CSAC work plan, so that the regional management team is held accountable to this subcommittee. Thank you for your attention. I welcome any question to ask my claim about the subletting, about the underground illegal activity, which in our project. I did mention again, but no one cares. They just say, for many years.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline.
Okay.
Marcel, have you got any questions of Jacqueline to this morning?
Yeah, just a couple of things. One, how long has this been going on? And when you have been contacting the management office, how have you been doing it? Doing it in person or through like email, letters? And do you have copies of those?
For all everything, email, letter, in person, they just not care. It has been how many years? Years. And particularly after decentralization, and then they even make the decision allowing that. They even say there's a shared common space in front of our unit window. They allowed that happen. My window was broken because the drug dealing, they're partying, and then they dump the wire and everything, the bottom, and broke my window, just replaced in 2021 in June 1st. But they have been years subletting. They even put the subletting tenant not living there as our secret community rep without our consent. No one knows who is our community rep. Everything was secretly. Nothing announced, nothing posting. Instead, they do private business. And then the secret community rep, they are not live here. They do not live in our project. I provide the name, I provide the unit, I provide the subletting tenant. They don't care. They partner with it for illegal activity. So many illegal.
Thank you.
Jackie.
Okay.
Thank you.
Marcel, any other questions?
I do, but I'm not sure like where to direct that. Would it be
Any
towards?
more questions? Let me just ask any questions of Jackie. Any more of Jackie?
No.
Okay,
No,
I
I'm
don't
done.
either.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
thank you,
Jackie. Thank you
everybody.
for
Thank you.
coming. So now you have a question or two. Is that to staff? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking like, has anybody looked into this, like into it a little bit further, like with her concerns and stuff? So I don't know who that would go to.
I guess we could just, and I don't know if that's possible because that she said regional and her local folks, but it might be helpful just to ask to take note of these concerns and let us know about some of this activity at a later date, unless there's something more specific that you want to know as to how something like this would be dealt with. It's not really the action plan, but when things come forward with safety issues, we should listen.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Maybe I'll just ask Ms. Gouveia, or there you are, how you might like to come back with some of that information.
So through
to us.
the chair, we've had extensive communication with Ms. Yu. We will circle back to ensure that any of the new concerns that were raised are followed up. I can't get into the specifics of some of the complaints that she's outlined because we have followed up and investigated them, but I will say that I'm happy to work with the regional team and our general manager to ensure that she feels heard and we follow up on any items that have yet to be followed up on. So I can take that offline.
Thank you very much. Is that good for you, Marcel? Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you. So what I'd just like to ask for, can I have a motion from you, Marcel, to approve the recommendations contained in the report CSAC 2024-04 regarding 2024 Public CSAC Work Plan and forward to the Tenant Services Committee and the Board of Directors for approval. Are you moving that? Thank you very much. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay. The work plan has been approved and will be forwarded to the TSC and the board. Thanks very much. Now, item 7, which is a violence reduction program. I understand there is a deputant as well.
We have two deputants in relation to that matter, as I understand it. Mr. Bezenson? Robert Bezenson?
Robert Bezenson, deputant for this item. Online, in person? Do we know? Oh, thank you. This is not Robert. This is Ava. You all know Ava. Thanks, Ava.
I understood that Mr. Bezenson was going to be here in person.
Here in
He doesn't
person?
appear to be here at this time.
Okay, not here. We'll see if he gets here within the item. And how about the next person?
The second deputant that we understood was attending this morning was Mr. Avila. I see we have a call-in user. I don't know if either of if the call-in user is either Mr. Bezenson or Mr. Avila.
Yes, This is Miguel. I almost 2 minutes away from City Hall. Is that possible? Yeah, I can behold my time to speak in person.
You're the only deputant, so that would mean we're holding this item. I'd prefer if you could just do that online, please.
It's because I have some. I like to communicate with graphics. That's part of my disability. So that way I communicate my thoughts and ideas to TCHC.
Okay, we'll have a conversation. I'm going to do this meeting started at 9. We'll talk about the report. If you're here before we're finished, then I'm happy to have you make a deputation in person.
I'm on my way racing through the streets right now as I speak.
I don't know where you are, but I'm offering you the opportunity to just do this online. But you're indicating you'd like to.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna do my deputation online, but I have to draw to your attention some documents.
Yes, any documents you'd like to bring, please bring them to the clerk whenever you get here, so there's no pressure to rush. Be safe, please.
Okay.
How about that? And you give us your deputation, then put your
Sounds
documents in. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, Miguel, you have 5
All
minutes.
right.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on this item. My name is Miguel. I'm a resident of Regent Park. Last March the 12th, my community of Regent Park was shocked by violence. I am really, I'm happy about that situation because we celebrated almost a year free of violence in the community. We didn't have to lose anybody. So it is quite shocking. And it just happened to be on my birthday on March the 12th. So I was really sad to see the news that Regent Park was again on the news, and we are trying to figure it out what is the best way to deal with mental health calls and addictions and treatment. This is an important issue that we have discussed among residents because we want to avoid these situations from happening in the future again. So I hope that perhaps using the emergency contact information on your information data, it can be possible to reach out to you if you are having some difficulty with your, mental health. That is one of my suggestions. Anyhow, also, the Regent Park neighborhood community officers, they have been addressing one big concern that we have for pedestrians that cross between River Street and Oak Street. So the neighborhood community officers provide us with a quarterly update, and they say that they believe that the crossing is dangerous, and because a lot of these residents are from TCHC that cross daily to go to their daily routines. So it is my hope that this inconvenience on our streets can be addressed to reduce the risk of accidents. And that way we can address page 3 of the report, that addresses some of the common issues that address the need for better safety provisions for the community. And last, I want to conclude my deputation by asking access to the parking on the Grand Garage. My fob is not working. I have a trike that I use for disability purposes. So I wonder if someone can get back to me about getting fob access. And this is something that the CSU is role in management of the fob. So I hope somebody can speak to me. I'm on my way to City Hall right now. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak online.
Thank you very much. I don't know if there's any questions, Marcel? And I'm not sure that as deputations that it's in order to speak with management. I think that it's through whatever infrastructure there that you have at the workplace. But so that's not the purpose of our deputation. But thank you for coming, or thank you for doing that. I want to be clear, and management can be clear on how questions and issues get escalated here. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Douglas. How are you?
Good morning. Apologies for being late.
That's fine.
Tech problem.
Tech problem. Did you have any questions of Mr. Avila on his deputation?
I'm sorry, I missed his deputation.
Oh, all right, then you would not have that. Thank you. We're on the work plan. So, Marcel, no questions. Thank you very much. Now we'll actually, what I didn't do is say what we were doing. It's the report for the third and fourth quarters of 2023, put forward for our information, and it's the report regarding the violence reduction program. So there may be questions of our TCHC staff. Marcel, do you have any?
So through the chair, if it's allowable to you, are we able to do some opening remarks and then open it to question?
Go ahead. Yep.
So our acting senior manager in the community safety unit, Mona Batoni, and our acting director of programs and partnerships will do some overview comments, and then we're happy to open it up to questions at that point. So we can start with Mona.
Good morning, committee members. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So in this report, as you know, is co-written with Programs in Partnership, and I'll provide the update on the CSU information, and Arsema will cover the update from Programs in Partnership. So in this report, you will see that we have expanded VRP to include 5 pilot sites. The statistical data for these pilot sites are shown separately in attachment 2 of the report, which is tables 2B and 2C. As for the regular VRP sites and updates, in Q4 2023, the upward trend continued from the previous quarter, which was Q3, and as we saw, an increase of 437 calls for service compared to Q4 2022. So the 11% rise was mainly driven by service calls for incidents related to cause disturbance, loitering, welfare checks, and trespass to property. However, similar to Q3, neighbor disputes incidents continued to decline. So for crimes against persons, in Q3 23, there was an increase of 42 incidents in overall crimes against persons when compared to the previous quarter in 2022. This was primarily driven by increases in reported assaults, threats, and robberies. However, when comparing the previous quarter being Q2, we did see a decrease of 15 reported crimes against persons. While the report incidents of crimes against persons reached 102 in Q3, it does mark an improvement from 2022 pre-pandemic levels, where there was 135 incidents reported in Q3 2020. So moving on to the Q4 2023, there was a significant decrease of 14 incidents compared to the previous quarter, Q3, mainly attributed to decrease in reported robbery and assault incidents. So if we compare the current figures to 2022 pre-pandemic levels, there was 125 incidents of crime against persons in Q4 2020, whereas in Q4 2023, we saw a decrease with only 88 reported incidents. So moving on to crimes against property, in Q3, there was a significant increase of 62 incidents, which is 55% compared to the same time last year, primarily due to the reported thefts and mischiefs. In Q4 23, property crimes increased by 44 incidents compared to the same time last year, again, primarily due to more reported thefts and mischiefs. So despite the high number of crimes against property in Q4, there was a minor decrease of 2 incidents compared to Q3 2023. And just to provide a progress update on the shooting incidents in the VRP communities. So the Community Safety Unit in the City of Toronto have reconvened to work on improving the accuracy of our shooting data, and the CSU crime analyst met with both the City of Toronto and TPS analysts last week, and the TPS analyst is currently working on getting us the information, so we're hoping to get the data by mid-April 2024. So I'll just hand it over to Arsema.
Thank you, Mona. Okay, so in terms of programs and partnerships, our staff have just focused on community building and really integrating frontline staff with residents and the local community partners to address the root causes of violence. This was done through trainings such as the Stop the Bleed and human trafficking awareness for residents, facilitating meetings with internal and external stakeholders, as well as coordinating focused responses to incidents and to resident feedback, and doing planning collectively. The team plays an active role in integrated safety coordination teams with other partners at the table and in our integrated team meetings with internal colleagues to really identify issues, focus in on families, and facilitate tenancy management. And as Mona mentioned, expanding into the 5 pilot sites has really allowed us to test ideas and to deploy resources according to need. So if I can give a couple of examples, at 245 Dunn, we are establishing a Parkdale safety network and have about 7 interested tenants who are working with our staff. At the Centennial Apartments O'Connor, we delivered human trafficking awareness campaigns and workshop series in partnership with Covenant House. And so the staff have developed strong relationships with youth and their families. And I've seen that this has really created the foundation for programming and really thinking about what are the things that we need to have in that community. At Flemington Park, we are establishing a youth computer lab. And this is also going to be the space where there's going to be different safety and well-being programs that will be implemented, such as Finding Peace, which is a yoga and mental health initiative for mothers affected by community violence. At Yorkwoods Village, the staff have also focused on young people and really the younger youth, so the 13 and 14-year-olds. who have participated in a program called Outreach Kids last summer, and they're actually meeting bi-weekly with our staff in Fir Grove to really learn about, ways that they could be active in community building and to do outreach. And at 1901 Weston Road, the regional manager there has really been working closely with partners to bring in new services, have a lot more activities in that building, as well as increase police service and presence and partnerships. So the team has really been entrenched in all the stakeholder tables, as well as with building relationships with tenants and their families. They're providing direct support to vulnerable tenants. They're working with tenants and partners to establish programming, as I've said. And there are a lot of challenges for sure, and a lot of work to be done, but there's a commitment to fostering a safer environment for all residents. And so that means they're really there in community, all hands on deck. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much then. Just open that up, see if there's any questions. Marcel, Debbie?
If I may, please, Paula. Thank you for the report in terms of some of the activities that are happening in various sites. You mentioned 3 or 4. I'm wondering whether or not you are prioritizing, you being staff, prioritizing programming and going in and working with tenants to develop what they think would be the right response to what it is that they're experiencing. What I'm trying to get a sense of is, you talked about staff working with vulnerable communities, and we define vulnerable communities as communities with high addiction rates, high drug use, issues of mental health. What kind of programming are you doing there? Or are you just reporting out on programming that happens to be active wherever we have active staff? I'm just trying to get what the connection is between our various communities that we've been identifying and how it is that you've been going about in being intentional in putting in place the kinds of supports that's required based on community profile. I'm just trying to see what the links are, continuing our conversation from our last meeting.
So through the chair, happy to respond to that, and then I'll turn it to Arsema to elaborate. So we have dedicated staff that support our buildings with high populations of vulnerable tenants. We're going to be having a presentation in camera that speaks to the work that team does shortly, so we'll be able to unpack it a little bit. The violence reduction sites are typically aligned with more community-based programming, particularly working with children and youth, and so that's the work that Arsema and her team lead in terms of working with stakeholders. But we definitely do quite a bit of support services and bringing in resources specific to the vulnerable populations you outlined, and I think you'll see a bit more details coming up. So Arsema, I don't know if you want to add to that.
So sorry. So before you go, Nadia, I'm trying to understand how it is if we build programs based on profiles. So are we saying that community A is experiencing high level of violence more so than any other community? That's our priority. We are going in, we're working with tenants, and then we're bringing in programs. I'm trying to see how systematic things happen, or if it's where there is interest in tenants. I'm just trying to get a sense of how these programming works and how it's connected to the work you're doing in terms of violence prevention.
So through the chair, we do customized service delivery plans at a community and building level, depending on the specific needs of the building. So that is informed both by some of the challenges the frontline staff are having, the regional management teams, but as well as the tenants. And so we prioritize based on our ability to sort of respond to that community and what the community partners are able to bring. So what you will see is, depending on the building profile and some of the circumstances the building's dealing with, we will have a different approach. Obviously, we're limited in resources, and so we have to prioritize the communities that we can spend more time in, but the communities specific to the ones outlined here have a slightly different approach depending on the needs of the particular building. So some may be focused specifically on vulnerable tenants related to drug addictions or mental health. And so we have a slightly different approach with those communities versus the ones that are more highly youth populated that might be experiencing gun violence. So absolutely, it's customized. It's based on the needs of the community and based on the partnership profile as well. So we play a larger role in communities where there are less community partners able to step up. And then you'll see in other communities, we play more of a coordination role. So absolutely.
Thank you.
Any more questions, Debbie? No?
No, I was waiting for the details. Sorry.
Oh, did you get them?
No, our young colleague was going to go after Nadia.
Director Douglas, can you just repeat in terms of the details around outside of those 5 sites or just in general, the high needs community?
No, Nadia's going to give a bit more detail in terms of some of the programming that you had reported out on.
Okay. I was just going to add.
For the top 5 sites, or do you want to pick anything in particular, or just, okay.
Whatever information you have will be helpful. And just to give us a sense of who are the organizations or what kind of organizations are you working on that you're bringing in to help support this work?
Okay,
Got it.
thank you. I would say in some of the Northwest communities, some of our key partners have been like Black Creek Community Health, YACE, the SNAP program, really just focusing on especially Black families in that area, in some of the high needs communities. So you'll hear a little bit more in the in-camera session, but really just about working with anchor agencies and working with the city to deploy an anchor agency model. So in the East, we have Scarborough Center for Healthy Communities, who have staff on site in some of our high needs communities, as well as satellite sites where our tenants go there. So it varies from community to community, and really just focusing on specific individuals and then also the community at large. I hope
Oh, I
that
see.
answers your
Okay.
question.
Yeah, thanks.
Are you good? Yep.
Yes.
Marcel? Any questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I just have a few questions, and I'm just interested in who's leading what, because you have a joint report, but, so if we go at item 7, page 22, there's these West Region, Central Region, Central, East, and then there's something the CSU is leading events on. I'm really unclear who the lead is on community safety here, and leading on doing these kinds of things. So who's organizing them, whose event it is. Somebody says we attended or we organized. I'm just not sure. I can be very specific. So if we go to page 24, the CSU are cleaning up Empringham, took part in a fish fry, assisted at a barbecue, went to Moss Park, assisted at a barbecue, attended an event, coffee with a cop, attended. So I'm unclear, it doesn't look like these things were organized. I don't know who organized them. Who organized them?
So through the chair, you'll find on page 2 of the report, I think it's page 22 of the deck, those are the initiatives that are led by the Programs and Partnerships team. There are some community engagement activities that CSU participates in and at times leads, so I'll let Al speak to those. So in terms of who owns community safety, we see it as a joint effort, both a community development approach that's led by our Summits team and the regional teams, but also enforcement and engagement support from the CSU side. So I'll let Al speak to that.
All right, no, not yet, because I'm looking for table 1, table 2, table 3. Then why do we have a separated out table 4?
So
does that
the
relate to the other
distinction
two?
would be the programs that are led by programs and partnerships, and then the CSU team outlined the programs that they're involved in and that they're leading related to community engagement activities led by the CSU team.
So I'm not clear then. I'm sorry, I'm going to be very clear, because sometimes things just aren't clear enough. Table 4, these are all initiated and led by the CSU. The fish fry, the barbecue, or they were attended. Which one?
It depends on the specific event, but I'll let Al speak to them in more detail.
So just go through them each. Which ones? Which ones did the CSU initiate and run, and which ones did you attend?
Yes, good morning, Chair. And just to give just clarity, none of the events were run by special constables in our unit. They were either special constables will stop by if it's run by Toronto Police or a community agency, which some of them are noted. For example, the one on July 21st, CSU assisted with a barbecue that was hosted by the Lawrence East Partnership Program.
Yep.
So there's a lot, we tried to, this page is predominantly ones where CSU, the unit itself, either led, participated in, or stopped by. And sometimes the ones, any of the ones that were organized by the CSU were organized by our community safety advisors in conjunction with other partners throughout the organization and our external stakeholders. But as far as special constables, they have not led any of these initiatives directly.
So these were events that CSU attended. Were other TCHC staff at these events? These on site?
Yes, Chair. In several of these initiatives, they were in conjunction with other areas within the organization, some from our SEMAS team, some from site staff, and you'll see some of the first one in particular, July 7th. The CSU staff partnered with the community and allied supports to clean up the area. So that would have been done with site staff as well, and they should have been noted in there.
So are these CSU officers, sorry?
I'm sorry, Paula. Before, Al, can you explain to us the difference between partnered with, assisted with, and supported? I'm just trying to get a sense of what the difference is in terms of activities.
Yes, through the chair, Director Douglas. To be honest, that would probably just be semantics. There really is no difference. Where our team, members of our team, and predominantly our community safety advisors, and on occasion our special constables worked with members of the community, with agencies, with site staff. So really, they're all a different way, just to say that they just worked with or participated in.
They were there.
That's correct.
Thanks.
That answer your question? Yep, you good?
Yes, sorry for interrupting.
That's okay, because I'm just, and I'll speak to that, but, so there was all kinds of staff here, not just CSU staff, site staff, other staff, community development staff.
Yes, Chair. Depending on the event, there would be certainly different areas of the organization represented, and again, each having their own role to play. In the case of CSU, a lot of it is community relationship building with our CSAs, who provide safety and security at times of major events and through SEPTED audits, and our special constables, because they are on site, they will attend and participate as required, usually to establish a relationship outside any sort of law enforcement capacity.
And whose decision was it that the CSU would be dropping off the Toronto Star gift boxes, Ms. Gabea?
That initiative, Chair, has been going on for about 10 years, and it's been our community safety advisors oversee that, and they do special constables assist as required, but that would ultimately be the decision of myself to approve it. And again, it's been an initiative that's been going on for quite a while, and it's been very successful.
Yes, I know the program, but that's for you to decide or for the COO to decide if who delivers those boxes?
In fairness, in the case of this, I did not go to the COO. These are deployment decisions on a daily basis that we're trying to obviously create relationships. So I did not ask the permission of the COO on this, so it would rest with me in this. Should I in the future, I will certainly take direction and do so if needed, but that was ultimately, this one was the decision made by myself.
We'll have the, there's not a lot to do because Mr. Hunter is leaving us shortly in April, and Mr. Baird's coming, so he'll put his own stamp on things. But in these cases, are all of these officers attached just to these communities? Or do they go to many different communities to do things?
Chair, predominantly it's the special, again, the CSAs that are in that community, that are tied to the community, that are the ones that attend. And on occasion, they'll bring his basket, a special constable that works that community to attend. It's very uncommon. I'm not saying it doesn't happen that they would go from one community to the other, but it's very rare that would happen. It's usually trying to build the partnership and the relationship
Right.
of the special constables assigned to that particular community.
And the CSA is a community safety advisor?
Yes, that's
They're under, in their relationship to the unit?
That is
They're
correct.
Managed by you?
The community safety advisors are non-sworn members of the community safety unit that report up through to myself to the COO.
And no reason why they couldn't report up in a different way, because they're not special constables, are they?
They're not special constables.
So
There is a
they're
lot of
civilians,
overlap,
so
but
to
they are not
speak.
special constables, Chair.
So in our review, that would be a spot where we'd look at if those positions should stay embedded, in how they should be embedded in the community and under whose management, whose authority they would.
I definitely think it's something that should be reviewed, Chair, in the sense of we want to make sure that the unit has the appropriate people aligned with us. We feel they do a very significant job that ties closely to our people, but definitely I see value in that being reviewed by the.
That's a management decision.
That is correct.
Thank you. New CEO decision, management decision.
That
Okay.
is, I totally agree.
Thank you very much. Any other questions here this morning on this? Any speakers? Marcel, Debbie, like to say something?
No,
I'll
I'm
just,
good.
I'll just say thank you for this, and I appreciate the tables, and I think that while we're looking at all these configurations, I think there used to be community safety advisors, they weren't necessarily under the different configurations, so everything that we can do to keep people engaged, that's fantastic. I just want to make sure that the deployment's in such a way that for community development programs, you don't necessarily need officers. And when the mayor had her big meeting of all the tenants from across the city, there were requests to have CSU there, particularly in places where there were troubled spots, where rapid rehousing had taken place, and there's difficult tenants in those buildings, and they felt the need for that. So I think there'll be a time coming soon that, how do we balance this out? Who needs to drop off parcels? Who needs to be where there's issues at a building because of the incompatibility with tenants who are being moved in on an emergency basis with stable communities, which is what we heard there. So not making any motions, I'm just flagging that I think is a direction that we're going to have to look at.
A point of privilege. A
Sorry,
point of privilege.
there's no
I have
point
a
of
human
sorry,
rights
I'm
and
sorry.
disability
There-
request.
Excuse me,
My landlord has.
there is no point of privilege. I'm sorry, Miguel, could you please turn that microphone off? Thank you. Cut it. Thank you. I'm happy if you can leave those with us.
I can use.
Could you leave those with us? That's fine, but you're not, we're finished the deputations, you've made your, okay. Dara, thank you. Okay. It's okay, Dara, we're just going to, thank you. Thank you very much. No, nobody's undermining your human rights. I've asked you to leave those materials here, as I said you could do when you had your deputation. Please leave the materials for the staff. They're happy to take them. No, he's part of the staff. You can leave them with Mr. Britton. Thank you. Happy to just take them up here, drop them off. Happy to have all the materials that you have to leave with us, please. Thank you so much. Ms. Britton will get those from you, Miguel, the pictures. If you'd like to leave them, you can have them. Hi, Uba, how are you? Oh, can't hear you. Your microphone's not on.
Oh, no, sorry.
There
Good
we
morning, everyone. I'm in Africa, so I'm having some difficulties.
Oh, look at you, looking so happy and beautiful there. Look at her.
Thank you.
I've never seen her look so
Thank you.
happy.
I was going to say the same thing.
I'm with Somalia.
Okay. So now on this one, we just have to receive this committee report. Would you like to move that, Debbie, to receive report number 6, a motion to receive CSAC report 2024-05, being the violence reduction program update for the 3rd and 4th quarters of 2023, and to forward to
Yes.
the TSC for its information.
I will
Moving that?
move so.
Sure, moving that. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Let's go. The next motion is to go in camera, but I'm just going to, yeah, I'm good. Okay. We're going to adjourn this part and go in camera. Debbie, would you move to go in, Uba, move to go in camera, please? So moved. All in favor? Thank you very much.